الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن سار على سبيله إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So in continuing discussing the book Bulugh al-Maram by Hafidh ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah, where we're discussing concerning Kitab al-Miyah. So discussing the first chapter of the book, which is overall Kitab al-Taharah, and of the first of those chapters that he discussed concerning matters pertaining to al-Miyah, which is al-water. So we continue discussing from where we have left off regarding concerning, we'll be starting according to my book, Hadith, which is the Hadith of Abdullah ibn Omar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhuma. And so I'll read the Hadith and then we go through concerning the thing that will be discussed relating to this particular Hadith. Aywa.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Fourth Hadith from Bab al-Miyah, narrated by Abdullah bin Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, if there is enough water to fill two pots, it carries no impurity. A narration has, it does not become impure. Al-Arba'a reported it.
So the author rahimahullah ibn Ḥajar, that he mentioned this hadith, that according to the Arabic text it mentioned, and Abdullah ibn Umar radiyallahu anhuma قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا كان الماء قلتين لم يحمل الخبث وفي لفظ لم ينجس أخرجه الأربعة وصححه ابن خزيمة والحاكم وابن حبان. So this concerns the hadith that is mentioned in this text, and it's the hadith in some print, hadith number 4, and in some print, hadith number 5. So they mentioned regarding concerning the system that we follow regarding discussing this hadith, that first that we'll mention regarding concerning matters pertaining to the rawi of the hadith, who is in this case Ibn Umar. Then also we discuss concerning matters relating to the takhrij of the hadith. Also we discuss concerning matters that relates to the hukum of the ulama regarding judgment of the ulama on this particular hadith. And also we discuss concerning the meaning of the hadith. And then we discuss concerning the masail, the fiqh matter that relates to this particular hadith. So as for first of those things that we mentioned, that regarding concern the first of those things, that just to pay attention regarding that what is read or what was read regarding concerning when mentioned at the end of the hadith, akhrajahu al-arba. So it mentioned the hadith is collected by al-arba, and as we mentioned before, that al-arba, that is Abu Dawud, Imam al-Tirmidhi in his book al-Jami al-Kabir, and also al-Nasa'i, and also Ibn Majah. Then it mentioned, adding to this, it mentioned وَصَحَّهُ Ibn Khuzaymah wal-Hakim wa Ibn Hibban. So that also is a part of what is mentioned regarding the hadith. So of additional, صححه Ibn Khuzaymah, Hakim wa Ibn Hibban. As for the first matter regarding matters pertaining to the rawi of the hadith, as we mentioned regarding concerning, that is Abdullah ibn Umar ibn Khattab. Abdullah ibn Umar ibn Khattab ibn Nufail al-Qurashi al-Adawi. So this is the name of Ibn Umar, as is well known as. So Abdullah ibn Umar ibn al-Khattab ibn Nufail al-Qurashi al-Adawi, and al-Madani al-Faqih, and also from of those of Medina, and also is from the fuqaha among the Sahaba, and also is known to be of those regarding al-ilm wal-amal, was mean to among the Sahaba, that is well known to be of a person of ilm among the Sahaba, and also a person who was known regarding his keenness regarding ittiba' as-sunnah. So Ibn Umar was known for his keenness regarding follow the sunnah, and also a person of those of knowledge amongst the Sahaba, and that he accepted Islam when he was a young man with his father. So both he accepted Islam as a young man with his father, and also of those that he participated in some of the battles regarding concerning al-Khandaq, of the first of the battle that he participated in. As before this he was too young concerning participating in the battles. Then as mentioned regarding concern that he is those who known to be of those who have narrated many of the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Then Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu knows, as we mentioned, of the people of ilm amongst the Sahaba. Then also Ibn Umar radiyallahu anhu, that it is said that he died the year which is the year in Mecca, سنة 73 73 al-Hijrah that he died. So Ibn Umar died in في Mecca, and that year that he died was 73 was the 73rd year of the Hijrah. So that's concerning in brief regarding concerning Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu. As for what is mentioned second regarding concerning takhrij of the hadith, so second thing regarding the takhrij, as we mentioned concerning takhrij of the hadith, with the ulama of hadith, it generally means concerning the person able to trace the hadith to its original sources. And original sources said al-Masadir al-Asliya. What is intended by this is concerning books that mention hadith with a full isnad by way of the author. So the author mentioned an hadith with his isnad, then this is said to be Qutub al-Asliya because they have an isnad from the author back to the end of the hadith. So of those that he mentioned regarding takhrij of the hadith, he mentioned al-Arba, which as we mentioned that are Abu Dawud, al-Tirmidhi, and the book of Tirmidhi is called al-Jami' al-Kabir. Also al-Nasa'i in his book al-Sunan are mentioned as Mujtaba, al-Sunan al-Sugra, and also al-Nasa'i wa Ibn Majah. Then also I mentioned Sahla, also the hadith is collected by others. The hadith also is collected by others, and amongst them Ibn Khuzaymah, also al-Hakim, and also Ibn Hibban, also they collected this particular hadith. So regarding concerning this particular hadith, that the hadith also have a additional information that is mentioned at the mention of the hadith concerning on Ibn Umar, that we find that there's another narration on Umar ibn Khattab. So also this hadith is narrated both by Ibn Umar, and also there's a narration by his father Ibn Umar al-Khattab, where he mentioned concerning Rasulullah that the Prophet the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he was asked, and in ma wa ma yanubahu min al-dhawab wal sibah, where he mentioned that water, what's the ruling regarding water that is being used by way of riding beasts and also by wild animals that will use of this water. فقال إذا كان ما قلتين, if water have reached قلتين, this amount لم يحمل al-khabat, or khabat, it doesn't becomes impure. So that's concerning the hadith. So this hadith is narrated in some narration by Ibn Umar, and also the hadith regarding and also by Omar, both narrate this hadith as stated. Also this hadith, that the hadith which is mentioned by one of Ibn Umar, that there is a discussion, an intense discussion between ulama regarding concerning the ruling of this hadith. So as for this hadith, that the ulama, that they differ regarding the ruling on this hadith. And of the ulama who have mentioned that, so you find that of the ulama who have somewhat criticized this hadith because they mention fi ittirab, that they mention this hadith, they say ittirab by way of many form of issues that are related regarding the hadith, by way of both the sanad and also by way of the matan, by way of the sanad and by way of the method of the hadith. But overall, that you find that many of the ulama are still all the hadith to be authentic. And of those who have authenticated this hadith, we have Imam Shafi, who have authenticated the hadith, Imam Ahmed, who have authenticated the hadith, Abu Ubaid al-Qasim, Ibn Salam, or As-Salam, also authenticated the hadith, also Tahawi, so also Imam al-Tahawi, also authenticated the hadith, Daraqutni, Ibn Daqiq al-Eid, also authenticated the hadith, also Ibn Khuzaymah, Ibn Hibban, and Hakim, Khattabi, and the likes of authentic hadith, and also of contemporary Sheikh Albani, also authentic hadith, also Ahmed Shakir, and others. So you find so many of the ulama of authentic hadith, based upon they mentioned that hadith, and also Ibn Ḥajar also authentic hadith, that they mentioned the hadith that regarding even though this ittirab, these differences that have occurred inside the isnad of hadith and the method, that it can be resolved, and as they mentioned regarding concerning the madar, that is hadith, that it all go back, it's centered around concerning what the narrator was al-Walid ibn Kathir. So Walid ibn Kathir, that is the center of the hadith, but you find that some differences have occurred regarding at times it be mentioned on the hadith of Muhammad ibn Abbad, Ubad ibn Jafar, or at times Muhammad ibn Jafar ibn Zubair, and also at times an Ubaidullah ibn Abdullah ibn Umar, and also Abdullah ibn Umar. So you find these differences that occurred regarding the hadith. So of the ulama who somewhat have taken a position that hadith is da'if, and amongst them who have all the hadith to be da'if, we find Ibn Abdul Barr, all the hadith to be da'if because of this reason concerning ittirab, and also Ibn al-Arabi. So Ibn al-Arabi al-Maliki also all the hadith to be ad-da'if in his explanation of the book of At-Tirmidhi. So that's concerning of those who have criticized the hadith. We'll find that many of the ulama are still authentic the hadith based upon that the difference that I mentioned that can be resolved, that it can be resolved where they give precedent to akthar, many of those concerning what is mentioned by the majority of the narrators, and also arjah, those who are more credible. So based upon this, that they were able to come to a conclusion, the hadith, that it is authentic, contrary to those who hold the hadith, that it is not. So regarding concerning the hadith, that by way of the isnad, it had been criticized, and also by way of the matan. So also by way of the matan of the hadith, of the criticism that have been mentioned regarding the matan of the hadith, that I mentioned that in some narration, and also in fine of the matan also, of the send of the hadith, in some narration, it mentioned the hadith is mawsul or marfu, that the hadith, it goes back to the message of to the Prophet ﷺ. Some narration, it goes back to Ibn Umar, and some narration also mentioned is mursala, it is of a broken chain. So with this though, that most of the narration, it is mawsula. Most of the narration is mawsula, marfu'a, that of a continuous chain going back to the Prophet ﷺ. So based upon this, that they're able to resolve those differences that occur in the isnad. As by way of the matan, of the differences that occurred in the matan, that you find that in some narration that the hadith have mentioned, إِذَا بَلَغَ الْمَاء قُلَّتَيْنِ, and that's concerning majority of the narration. Some narration I've mentioned, which is certainty, إِذَا بَلَغَ الْمَاء قُلَّتَيْنِ, if the water have reached قُلَّتَيْن, this quantity, it doesn't become impure. In some narration of the hadith of Ibn Umar and also of Jabir mentioned, إِذَا كَانَ مَا قَدْرْ قُلَّتَيْن أو ثلاثة لم ينجسه شيء, that if the water have reached the amount of قلتين, this amount, أو ثلاثة, or it mentioned or ثلاثة, or three قلال, that it mentioned three certain of three قلالة, then it meant قلال لم ينجسه شيء, it doesn't become impure. So it's sort of a difference between some narration that they have a doubt regarding is it 2 or 3. So you have that also narration as mentioned by Ibn and the ulama, and also some narration mentioned إذا بلغ الماء 40 قلة فإنه لا يحمل الخبث. So some narration mentioned that if the water have reached 40 قلة فإنه لا يحمل الخبث. So they mentioned regarding concern that you have these different narration regarding the sanad, regarding the actual the matan of the hadith. So they have some discussion regarding that the one that mentioned regarding قلتين or ثلاثة seems to have doubt. Some mention over 40. Then they mentioned those ones that that a doubt, it is somewhat considered to be ثلاثة. Then that one is somewhat discussed as being weak because of the narrator of one of the narrators somewhat made an error regarding concerning having doubt regarding that number, but they mention regarding concern that overall that this doesn't affect regarding the hadith authenticity, as those ones can be answered regarding in some narration why you have doubt, that some of those narrated have somewhat that can be looked at or mentioned that can be worked out. They mention worked out. We find that Hammad ibn Salama, so Hammad ibn Salama was one of the narrator who mentioned regarding doubt, is it 2 or 3 amount? Then he mentioned Hammad ibn Salama is one who said to be thiqa, is one who said to be a reliable narrator, but as he got older, his memory got weak. As he got older, his memory became weak. So he mentioned his hadith at that stage when he was somewhat older, and his memory, they said the memory got weak. So by this, that narration is dismissed. But all other narrators mention only قلتين. So that's concerning that answer regarding that matter. As for concerning that arba'in, then I mentioned that one is weak. That one is weak. So regarding concerning the hadith overall, that the ulama of all the hadith, that it is authentic, and many of the ulama of authentic hadith as mentioned. Then the next matter, the third of those matters regarding concerning, that as we mentioned, that hadith, that there's a story that relates to the hadith. So there's a story where someone was asking regarding concerning that, if this water in this open area, like by way of that is there, that you find that animals, what are concerning wild beasts and riding animals, that they are drinking from this water, and by this, that they might include things that are impure in the water. Is this water suitable to be used? So the Prophet mentioned that by stating, إِذَا كَانَ مَا قُلَّتَيْنِ, if water have reached this amount, then it doesn't become impure. So that's concerning the backdrop or the reason behind this particular hadith. As for the next matter regarding the meaning of the hadith, then it mentioned the hadith can somewhat have a meaning that state that if water have reached this amount, regarding qullatayn, the ulama, they disagree regarding what is this amount, what this is amount that is qullatayn, what is qullatayn of water. In some narration of the hadith that is mentioned by Ibn Umar marfu'an, it mentioned إذا بلغ ما قلتين, if water have reached قلتين من خلال الحجر, من خلال الحجر, that if they mention if water have reached قلتين من خلال الحجر, and خلال الحجر is a they mention that is a vessel made of clay that is used by those people, that Ḥajar is a qarya, it is a village outside Medina. So those people used to have these large vessel made from clay, and they mentioned that that was the vessel that was intended. That was the vessel that was intended. So they mentioned that qullatayn, if it's of two of those type of vessels, jar of water made of clay, from the people of from the village of Ḥajar, then this water doesn't become impure. So, but that hadith regarding mention khilal al-Ḥajar, that narration is daif. That narration is daif. So based upon this hadith, the ulama mentioned that there's nothing from the Prophet ﷺ, from Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, that specify how much is this amount of water of qullatayn. So there's nothing from the Prophet ﷺ identifying, specifying how much is qullatayn. So based upon this, the ulama have many differences. You have a difference in the ulama as specifying how much is this measurement of water. So from this they mentioned that if this water, from what can be taken, if this water have reached this amount, then it doesn't become impure. And whatever is below this, then it becomes, then it is, if it becomes in contact with impurity, it becomes impure. That's the general meaning of what can be taken from the hadith, from what is apparent. That if the water is above qullatayn, even if things of impurity comes in contact with it, it doesn't become impure, as it can purify itself and can resist this impurity. But if it is below this amount, then if it comes in contact with the impurity, then it becomes automatically becomes impure. That's what what is mentioned as what can be taken. But as we mentioned, so as that's concerning the meaning of the general hadith, that's the meaning that is can be generally taken from the hadith. But as we will discuss regarding concerning this particular hadith, regarding the masail that relates to the hadith. So one of those masail that relates to this particular hadith, that will mention that one, as mentioned, they mention al-ma qalil wa kathir. If water is in small quantity or large quantity, and إذا خالطه نجاسة, if it comes in contact with things of impurities, so if water of large quantity or small quantity comes in contact with things of impurity, what's the ruling on that hadith? What's the ruling on that water? It is mentioned by Ibn Mundhir in his book al-Awsat, where he states, أجمع العلم, there's an agreement between the ulama, a consensus, an agreement between the people of ilm, على أن الماء القليل أو كثير, that if water is of small amount or large amount, إذا وقعت فيه نجاسة, if something of impurity falls into it, فتغيرت النجاسة الماء, and this impurity, it changes the property of the water by way of طعم, its taste, واللون, its color, or rih, or its smell, فإنه نجس, then it becomes impure. So water, so it mentions for them, ما دام كذلك, as long as it remains as such. وَلَا يُجْزِي الْوُضُوء وَالْإِكْتِسَالِ بِهِ. And it is not pure, and it is not allowed for one to make wudu or to take a bath from such water. So again, Ibn Mundhir rahimullah, he mentioned that in ijma between ulama, that water of large quantity or small quantity, if it has been changed by something which is impure, but we have to taste the color or the smell, then that water becomes impure, and it is not allowed for one to use that water regarding wudu or ghusl. So that's concerning that matter. Then also you find that water of a large body of water, says of the ocean, they mention concerning that, أجمعوا على أن الماء كثير, that water which is great, a large body of water, من البر, such as for example the ocean, أو نحوي, or something similar to this, إذا وقع فيه, if things of impurity falls into it, إذا وقع فيه نجاسة, if things of impurity falls into it, ولم تغير له لون أو طعم أو ريح, and the color, the taste or the smell has not changed, لأنه بحاله في طهارة, then it is and his hal before was طهارة قبل أن تقع فيه النجاسة, then it remains pure even with this impurity that has fallen into it, because there's nothing have been changed. So if there's no change that have occurred, then the water remain pure. So if nothing have changed, the water become pure. So by this, in summary, what can be stated regarding if we have large amount of water, but it have come into contact with najasa, and one of those three qualities have caused a change in the water by way of its color, taste, or smell, then that water is deemed to be impure. So if water, even of a large quantity, have been changed by something which is impure by way of the color, the taste, or the smell, then that water is deemed impure. Second, if we have a large amount of water and it have come in contact with or something of impurities have fallen into it, and no change have occurred regarding the taste, the smell, or the color, then that water still remain pure. That water still remain pure. Third scenario, if we have ma qalil, we have a small amount of water, وَإِذَا خَالَتَهُ نَجَاسَةً, and it come in, and this water, impurities are falling into it, وَغَيَّرَتْ أَحَدُ الْأَوْصَافِ فَإِنَّهُ نَجَسٌ, and that small amount of water, that impurities are falling into it, and have changed one of those three qualities, then again this water become impure. The water become impure. So regarding those three matters, then this is ijma between the ulama. There's a consensus between the ulama on those three things. Then regarding concerning that, the next matter, which is a fourth scenario, is regarding ma qalil. We have small amount of water, khalitahu najasa, that something of impurity are falling into this small quantity of water. Walam yataghayyar, and the water did not change by way of the color, taste, or smell, but it's a small amount of water. What's the ruling on such water? With this, and now rahimullah and the ulama mentioned that there's over 7 aqwal between the ulama. So in this case, small amount of water, something of impurity are falling into it, but nothing have changed by way of the color, taste, or smell. Does this water, because a small amount of water, that impurities, something impure are falling into it, but no change have occurred, is this water pure or impure? The ulama, they have a lengthy discussion, but in summary, there's two main views. The first view of the ulama is that إن كان ما قلتين فأكثر لم ينجس, that if this water, because it's of less than, if it is more, small amount of water, but it's more than قلتين, it is more than قلتين, and the ulama of contemporary time, they have somewhat given a measurement to what they deem to be an approximate amount that they deem to be what is said to be قلتين. that they said that it could be either 307 liter or 102 kilo of water that they deem to be, that is qullatayn. So they mentioned regarding concern that if the water is more than small amount but above that of qullatayn, and none of those three things were changed, then the water they mentioned, it is still pure. It still remain pure. وَإِنْ كَانَ, but if it is below qullatayn, is below this amount of qullatayn, najas, then it becomes impure. So for them, if impurity falls into an amount of water that is below, above qullatayn, then the water still remain pures. If it is this small amount of water is below qullatayn, and impurities are falling into it, then eventually it becomes impure. It becomes impure. And this is the madhab of the Shafi'iyah, Imam Shafi, also a riwayah and Imam Ahmed, and also Ishaq ibn Rahaway, and also Abi Ubaid. These are the ulama who take this position, where they make a tafriq, they make a distinction between what is above qullatayn, doesn't become impure, and what is below qullatayn, that becomes impure. And the evidence for this is the hadith of Ibn Umar that has been cited that have been cited as there some of the adillah. The second view is that أن الماء, that if this water كثيره وقليله لا ينجس إلا بتغير, that water, whether it is large in volume, large amount, or small amount of water, if it comes in contact with things of impurity, but no change have occurred, then that water, it remains pure. So for them, that water still remain pure. So that's concerning the view of the ulama regarding that matter. Of those who have the second view, that mention that if water of a large amount or small amount that come in contact with impurity, but no changes have occurred, then that water, it remains pure. Of those of that view, it is mentioned in Ibn Abbas, Sa'id ibn Musayyib, Hassan al-Basri, Ikrimah, Sa'id ibn Jubair, and many of the ulama of the Salaf, and amongst the A'immat al-Arba is the madhab of Imam Malik, Awza'i, Sufyan al-Thawri, Dawood al-Zahiri, and also Ibn Mundhir rahimahullah, قال Ibn Muhadha هو مذهب أقول, that Ibn Mundhir also is more inclined towards this second view, and also is the view that is taken by some of the ulama of the Shafi'iyah. And also it is stated that also, that is narrated also on the views of Imam Ahmed, one of the views of Imam Ahmed, and also qawl of Shafi as mentioned in al-Mughni. So that's concerned the discussion regarding that scenario regarding if water is of a small amount and have come in contact with najasa, but no change have occurred, what's the ruling? And we have mentioned that there's two main views on that particular matter. And Allahu Alam, regarding concern that the second view, that's also a view that seems to be the call that is more correct, that if no changes have occurred with the water of a small amount or a large amount that have come in contact with something which is impure, but no change have occurred regarding color, taste and smell, then that water still remain pure. The water still remains pure, and that's the call of, as we mentioned, many of the ulama of the Salaf, and also of the A'imma, and also that's the view concerning of the ulama who have also aligned, who have taken that view, is the view of Ibn Taymiyyah, and also Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, and also the view of al-Shawkani, San'ani, Sheikh bin Baz, and also Ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah jami'an. So they are more inclined towards the second view regarding that discussion. Another matter that is discussed regarding concerning that some of the ulama mentioned regarding this hadith, a second masala, هل غير الماء من مائيات, so concerning that تنجس بالنجاسة, that if other than water, but something which is liquid, come in contact with something of impurity. What's the ruling on such matters? So we have, other than water, so for example, cooking oil, or things of drinks, or milk, that something which is impure fell into it. What's the ruling on that, and those things, and those liquids? Are they pure or are they not pure? So we have milk, we have a drink, we have cooking, we have oil, a can of oil, that something of impurity fell into it. Does this thing become impure or does it remain pure? So it is also, you find concern the ulama that they mention regarding this matter, that as mentioned by Ibn Qudama, that regarding concern that you have different riwayat on this matter. One regarding that, of those riwayat, إحداهن أنه نجس بالنجاسة. Then that thing that is, for example, the cooking oil, that liquid that is not water, that have come in contact with something of impurity, then I mentioned regarding concern it becomes impure, it becomes najas. So of those who mentioned that it becomes impure. A second view is that أنها كالماء, that is like that of water, is like that of water. So concerned that that look to see if any change occur or not. Did that impure thing alter, change the smell, the color, or the taste of that thing that it fell into? So like water, and also of those who mentioned, so you have those aqwal regarding concerning, so it's look to see does any change occur or not, and if no change occur, it remains pure, it remains pure. So that's concerning in a nutshell, and that's called concern that it will take the ruling that of water. Allahu alam, that concerning that these other liquids, then it will take the ruling of that of water regarding to see did any change occur or not. So that's concerning in so that's concerning that matter regarding that particular hadith. So that's concerning of those things regarding concerning the hadith concerning al-Qullatayn, and of the ulama who all concerned al-Qulla, that it is something which was known in the time of that vessel is concerning that jarra kabir min al-fakhar. It is something that is a large water vessel that is made from clay, a large water vessel that is made of clay, but a different regarding the exact measurement of that water. But that's concerned that matter regarding concerning the hadith regarding al-Qullatayn. So with this, we'll go to the hadith that follows after this. We go to the hadith that follows after this. Before this, that they mentioned regarding concerning of those things that kind of somewhat to bear in mind regarding that. Also regarding that the hadith can somewhat indicate regarding concerning that the leftover regarding concerning of wild animals, that that of most part that they come in contact with things which is najas, and drinking from certain things, that so them drinking from this water, that because of them either their body had come in contact with things of najasa, did have any impact on the water, did have any impact on that water. So that's concerning those matters that relates to that particular hadith. We'll go to the hadith that follows and discuss concerning some of the ahkam that relates to the hadith that will be read, and we'll take the same method regarding discussing the hadith. Aywa.
Hadith number 5. Hadith number 5, narrated Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, none of you should take a bath in stagnant water while he is sexually impure. Muslim reported it. Al-Bukhari has, none of you should urinate in stagnant water that is not flowing, then take a bath in it. Muslim has the words from it, i.e. water. Abu Dawood has, no one should take a bath in it from sexual impurity.
So there's the next hadith that is discussed regarding concerning of those ahkam that relates to al-miyah. So of those ahkam that relates to water and what can be used and not used from water, then and what are those things that we are not allowed or allowed regarding water. Then he mentioned regarding the hadith. Then this is the hadith of an Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يغتسل أحدكم في الماء الداهم وهو جنب أخرجه المسلم. So I mentioned that this hadith comes with various wording. So the first wording that is mentioned, the first wording that is mentioned is that of the wording of Imam Muslim rahimahullah. Then I mentioned Lil Bukhari, and also Imam Bukhari rahimahullah in his Sahih, that he mentioned the wording, the same hadith of Abu Hurairah mentioned, لا يبولن أحدكم, that to emphasize that none of you should urinate في الماء الداهم, water that is stagnant, الذي لا يجري, meaning concerning giving clarity, water that doesn't run, ثم يغتسل فيه, then he should wash from it or take a bath from it. وللمسلم, and again also with the Muslim, منه, so rather than فيه, Imam Muslim have it, منه, from it. لأبي داود, so Abu Dawud also narrated the hadith and mentioned لا يغتسل فيه من الجنابة, that one should not take a bath from it because from a state of janaba. So that's concerning the hadith that is mentioned here by Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah regarding this discussion. So the discussion of hadith is regarding concerning that a person urinating and also making and using water that is stagnant water, with the person, so that's concerning that this matter to be discussed. As for the normal routing that regarding concerning that the hadith here that is in Bukhari and Muslim, and also others who have collected hadith, amongst them Abu Dawud, with a slight difference in wording. So the hadith is authentic. So he mentioned the first hadith, which is the wording of hadith concerning La yaqtasil. As for what we mentioned, as for Abu Hurairah anhu, that we have spoken about Abu Hurairah, we have spoken about him before, radiyallahu anhu. So we have spoken regarding Abu Hurairah anhu, regarding a brief tarjuma of Abu Hurairah. We have mentioned that previously. So as for concerning the hadith regarding takhrij of hadith, then the hadith in Bukhari and Muslim, but we have a slight difference in wording and others. So the hadith have a slight difference in wording, but the hadith, it is found in Bukhari and Muslim. So the wording of Imam Muslim, لا يغتسل أحدكم في الماء داهم وهو جنب, that a person in a state of janaba, then he should not take a ghusl, wash by from water which is stagnant. The narration of Imam Bukhari mentioned لا يبولن أحدكم, that none of you should urinate. So the hadith of Imam Bukhari, it mentioned regarding لا يبولن, that you should not urinate in stagnant water that does not run, ثم, then take a wash from it. And Abu Dawud mentioned لا يغتسل فيه من الجنابة, that one should not take a wash from such water. So Imam Bukhari, so that's concerning the hadith. So the hadith of Bukhari is slightly different from the hadith of Muslim, where Bukhari hadith it mentioned that one should not urinate in the water. Imam Abu Dawud, the hadith of Muslim mentioned لا يغتسل أحدكم في الماء داهم, that water which is stagnant, that one should not wash from water which is stagnant. So that's concerning the hadith regarding to be discussed. So of the main masail, or the mawdu of the hadith, is discussing concerning urinating. What's the rule regarding one urinating in stagnant water, and also one making use of stagnant water. One making use of stagnant water. Is this permissible or not? So that's concerning the matter that relates to this particular hadith. So they mentioned also in the hadith of Imam Bukhari, it gives more clarity regarding what is meant by ma ad-da'im. So ma ad-da'im, that they mentioned لا يبولن أحدكم في الماء الدائم, then they mentioned الذي لا يجري, water that does not runs, that does not flow, which is concerning, which means stagnant water, would be stagnant water. So it's about stagnant water will be, for example, a pool. So it's not flowing. So such thing as a pool, a swimming pool will be as such. They mention regarding concerning, that's concerning the hadith that is mentioned, which is somewhat forbidding us regarding certain things, regarding stagnant water, of those things, from what's that concerning urinating in stagnant water, and also the person making use of stagnant water, washing from stagnant water. What is mentioned here regarding of those ahkam that can be taken from this hadith, that the ulama have mentioned regarding concerning with this hadith, the first of those masail, that this hadith is mainly discussing concerning that not large body of water, but more small body of water. So not large body of water, is more discussing concerning smaller body of water. As for the first of those masail that can be discussed from this hadith, حكم اغتسال الجنب في الماء الداهم. What's the ruling regarding a person taking a bath, a person taking ghusl, a person state of janaba, taking ghusl from stagnant water. And now, rahimahullah, that they have mentioned that قال علماء من أصحابنا, that ulama from أصحابنا, meaning أصحابنا from the ulama of the Shafi'iyah. So from the ulama of the Shafi'iyah, وغيرهم, and other than them, يقرأ اغتسال في الماء الراكد. So concerning ماء الراكد, which is stagnant water, which is that the ulama of the Shafi'iyah, as mentioned by An-Nawawi, that they have taken the position that it is disliked for a person, that for the one who is in a state of janaba that is required to perform ghusl, it is disliked for them to take ghusl from water which is stagnant. Water which is stagnant, it is disliked for them to do so. I mentioned qalil kan or kathir. Whether it is water, it is small amount of water or a large amount of water, it is disliked for one to take ghusl from such water. وكذاك يقرأ اغتسال في عين الجاري. And also, according to the An-Nawawi, that he mentioned also, it is disliked for a person to take ghusl from a small stream. So even though it is running, which is stream is running, because it's a small, they mentioned it is disliked to take ghusl from such streams or springs. That's concerning the view of some of the Shafi'iyah. It is disliked for a person to take ghusl from stagnant water, whether the amount of water is small or small amount. They discuss concerning that, the word karahiyah huna, concerning karahiyah at-tanzil, which is something which is disliked, not something which is haram to be done. So the Shafi'iyah view this something which is disliked, but not way of something which is haram to be done, by way of tahrim, not is what is intended according to them. Al-Shawkani rahimahullah, in his book Nail Autar, kind of somewhat oppose this by way of mention وَلْيَنْظُرْ مَا الْقَرِينَةُ الصَّارِفَةُ. What's the source, or what is being used to remove the ruling, to say it is something which is disliked and not something which is haram, because the hadith, from what is apparent, it is something which is haram to be done, as we are being forbidden. So what is the things that will remove, say what is there to say it is something which is disliked and not something which is haram. So that's concerning the matter that as I mentioned, an-nahi lin-nahi and tahrim. So Shawkanis want to know what is the reason behind why the Shafi'iyah I say it is something which is disliked and not something which is haram to be done. As the hadith is somewhat explicit that it is something which is not to be done at all. And they mentioned that in Ibn Hazm from in the book Al-Muhalla, that more inclined that is something which is haram, tahrim. It is haram that a person to take ghusl from water which is stagnant. It is haram to take a bath from water which is stagnant. Then from this, they discuss concerning so this of this that could fall into this regarding concerning what difference as stagnant water, that it is forbidden for one to take ghusl from stagnant water. A matter that may apply to us in our time regarding concerning that the person who fill the tub, the person may fill the tub with water and then was sitting in it for a while and then washed. Is the person then allowed to make ghusl from that water inside that tub? So fill the tub with water, the person went in it, sat in it for a while, then the person after then, that same person then wish now to take ghusl from that water, but our water somewhat now is disallowed. So that's considered, so this can may apply to this situation regarding that this particular hadith of that water, is it considered to be stagnant water after the person have washed inside of that water. Also of those masail that have been taken from this is regarding hukum tabawul fi ma adahim. What's the ruling pertaining to a person urinating in stagnant water? So regarding concerning this particular matter, that An-Nawawi rahimahullah in his explanation of Sahih Muslim قال وَإِنْ كَانَ الْمَاء كَثِير, if the water is كثيرا, large amount, راكد, and the water it is stagnant, قال أصحابنا, our companion من الشافعية, يقرأ ولا يحرم, that it is disliked for a person to urinate in stagnant water. It is mentioned ما كثير, if the water is of a large amount, it is disliked for a person to urinate in large amount of water. But it's not something which is forbidden to do so. Then I mention وَلَوْ قِيلَ يُحْرِمْ لَمْ يَكُنْ بَعِيدٍ. Then I mention that if the person said it's something which is haram, then that is something which is not a far-fetched view. It is not a far-fetched view. Then I mention لأن النهي يقتضي التحريم على المختار in the محققين. That concern that all the principles regarding usul al-fiqh, that if something is forbidden, then the ruling that it is something which is forbidden for the person, it will take the ruling of something being forbidden. Then I mentioned that that's concerning the view that is mentioned, that An-Nawawi rahimahullah, that is more seen to be inclined that is something which is forbidden, even though most of the companions, most of the Shafi'iyah take the view that is something which is disliked but not haram. But An-Nawawi rahimahullah seems to mention وَلَوْ قِيلَ, if it is said that it is يُحْرُمْ لَمْ يَكُنْ بَعِيدٍ, that is similar to An-Nawawi rahimahullah, that is more inclined toward it is something which is forbidden and not to be done, contrary to the view of majority of the Shafi'iyah. Then I mentioned and that view saying it is something which is haram, that seems to be more correct. And that's the view of the Hanabila, that it is forbidden by the Hanabila for one and the Zahiriyah for a person to urinate in stagnant water. It is forbidden for a person to urinate in stagnant water. And they mentioned the reason for this mentioned, لا يبولن أحدكم. The Prophet ﷺ emphasized لا يبولن by emphasizing that one should not urinate in stagnant water. And also in some narration of Sahih Muslim, the hadith of Jabir, قال عليه السلام نا رسول عليه السلام أن يبول في الماء الراكد, that the Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he forbade for one to urinate in stagnant water. So that's concerning of the view of the ulama. Another view of the ulama that is taken by the Malikiyah is also it is something which is disliked. That the Malikiyah, and I mentioned that whether water is in large amount or small amount. Now, whether water is large amount or small amount, then it is disliked for a person to urinate in such water. Then as for the Shafi'iyah, what is more known for the Shafi'iyah that I mentioned that is forbidden for a person to urinate in water if it is of a small amount, and it is something which is disliked for a person to urinate in the water if it's of large amount. That's the Shafi'iyah. So the Shafi'iyah, they made that distinction. Small amount of water is disliked, but not, it is haram. And if it is large amount, then it is disliked, according to the Shafi'iyah. So that's concerning the view of the ulama regarding that matter, that one should not urinate in stagnant water. Some make a distinction between the amount, if it's large amount or small amount, and those who rule that it is not to be done at all. They mention regarding this point, that they mention that this in relation to, as for said, now water of large amount, then this does not apply. This does not apply regarding water concerning, for example, the ocean. The person a large river and the likes, they mention that this does not apply. This does not apply regarding urinate in such and those body of waters. Then the next matter that comes from this, that it mentioned regarding the next matter regarding tagawuth, with the person defecating inside water, which is stagnant water. So defecating a person which to defecate in stagnant water. So they mentioned regarding concerning for this matter regarding that, for example, the person who's in a pool, then the person shouldn't, and the likes. Then it mentioned regarding concerning that, as for this concern that, that ulama generally concerned, as mentioned by An-Nawawi in his explanation of Sahih Muslim, tagawuth fil ma kalbul فيه وأقبح. He mentioned that, that defecating in water is similar to that as urinating in still water, and even worse, to defecate. So even a worse thing, a more heinous thing to do is to defecate in still water. So that's concerning the view. وكذلك إذا بال في إناء. Just as so that's concerning what he ثم صبه في الماء. So also he mentioned that what is also forbidden for a person to urinate in a cup and then pour it into stagnant water. Then this is something also is unacceptable and also forbidden to be done. وكذلك إذا بال بقرب النهر. Also the person also is forbidden to urinate close to like a river, a small river. So the person also should avoid these type of places to urinate. So that's concerning كله مذمومة, that all of this is something which is detested. All of this is something which is blameworthy and detested. So the person not to defecate ومنهي عنه, and also قبيح ومنهي عنه على تفصيل مذكور. So you mentioned us know that doing the defecating inside these and also urinating, that according to An-Nawawi rahimahullah, regarding that in stagnant water is not to be done, nor for the person to defecate or urinate in a bowl, in a container, then pour it into stagnant water. All of these things are not to be done. And he mentioned this tafsil because that you find the view of the Zahiriyah. Some of the Zahiriyah that take things for their Zahir, that is mentioned, that is said to be the view of Dawood ibn Ali al-Zahiri, that is the Sheikh of the Zahiriyah, that takes the view regarding that to defecate is not like to urinate, because the Hadith specify not to urinate. It did mention not to defecate. And so you find a lot of ulama that, and also they have the view of the Zahiriyah, who takes the position a person was to urinate in a cup and then pour that urine into stagnant water, then for them that is jaiz. That is allowed. But the ulama have clarified that no, that is not correct. That those positions taken by the Zahiriyah, it is grossly incorrect. So that's concerning that matter regarding defecating in stagnant water. Also, this is forbidden. This is forbidden. And next matter regarding hukum tabaul fima ajari, the person urinating in running water, water which is flowing. Again, An-Nawawi rahimahullah qala, in kana al-ma kathiran, if water it is much, jariyan, lam yuhrim al-bawl fihi, the dimension it is not forbidden for one to urinate in the water. So the water is flowing, then he mentioned it is not forbidden for one to do so. لمفهوم الحديث, according to the mafhum, the understanding of hadith, they mention ولكن الأولى اجتنابه, but what is preferred is for the person to avoid this. What is preferred is for the person not to do so. وإن كان قليل جاريا فقد قال جماعة أصحابنا يكره, if the water is the flowing water is in small amount, then he mentioned that some of the Shafi'i it is something which is disliked to be done. ويكره والمختار أنه يحرم, but he said but the correct view it is forbidden. So the water is in running water, flowing water in small amount is also forbidden for one to urinate in this water, according to the view of An-Nawawi rahimahullah. So that's concerning of those matters that pertain to this matter regarding bowl, urinating, and also the use of water which is stagnant. Then from the hadith that shows this is something not to be done, not allowed to be done. So that's concerning that matter. I will mention concerning to know that to make wudu or ghusl from stagnant water, then it's not to be done based upon the hadith. So that's concerning that particular, some of those matters that pertain to this particular hadith that have been mentioned, and inshallah ta'ala that will end today's session regarding those two hadith. That's bear in mind that as we mentioned that the numbering of the hadith that sometimes may change based upon each of those of as to those who have worked on the book of Bulugh al-Maram, as to how they number the hadith may vary with one to another. But overall, that we have covered those two hadith, the hadith of Ibn Umar and also the hadith of Abu Hurairah regarding concerning matters pertaining to al-ma, regarding matters pertaining to al-miyah. So with that, inshallah, we'll end for today and continue regarding discussing the book Bulugh al-Maram by Ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah tabarak ta'ala. So with this we'll end. وبالله تعالى توفيق وهذه السبيل والآخرة والحمد لله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.